I think it's just that little, singing. It's easy to remember the words. It says Jolene 4 times. You know what you are, Jolene, 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 Jolene. Hi, Gabby.
Hi.
How are you?
Oh my gosh, I am walking on the clouds right now. How are you?
Well, I am good, Gabby. We had a little trouble getting our stuff going here, our equipment, but I have been looking so forward to talking with you. I know you're just so hot right now, and everybody loves you, and I just feel so proud to be talking with you today.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you taking the time coming on here because I'm sure you're busy working and all that good stuff. You're a hardworking woman, and I know how it goes. So I appreciate you coming on here. So thank you. I have a ton of questions for you that I have been dying to know. You are such a huge inspiration to me growing up, and you're one of the only few women that I really studied and just looked into and loved everything about. You're a force to be reckoned with, and you still are, which is absolutely amazing. And I just credit you and thank you for everything that you've done for so many people, because you have done so many things and inspired so many people, given hope to so many people as well, especially me coming up. And so I just want to genuinely thank you before I get into any of these questions that I have.
Well, that is quite a compliment, and I really thank you for that. It means a lot to me, and it humbles me to know that all these years that I've been in the business, that now at my age and all these years in the business, that I can still be an inspiration. I pray every day that God will let me be an inspiration and to uplift people and to glorify Him, and that's kind of how I live my life. So for you to say that, that makes me feel real good, and I'm glad that I've touched your life in some way and that I've been an inspiration. So thank you for that, and thank the Lord for our talent, right?
Absolutely. Yes, ma'am. All for Him. That is so true. Okay, so the first question that I have for you, okay, so as a young songwriter, your songwriting is something that I respect as much as anything. And so I've heard many of times, is it true that you have written over 3,000 songs?
Well, it must be at least that many, since I've been writing songs since I was a little bitty kid. I was making up songs before I could write, and my mama used to write things down, but I started playing my little guitar when I was 7, and I started writing some serious songs at 7, 8, 9, in that range, started really, really kind of getting my skills together there. But I write something almost every day. I always come up with some ideas. Sometimes I write several songs a day if I have a block of time to just say I'm going to write songs. So I don't really count them, but I've got hundreds and hundreds of songs recorded, hundreds and hundreds of songs, registered, and tons of songs in boxes and drawers and everywhere else. So I have at least that many. I always say I have at least 3,000 songs and 3 good ones.
3 good ones. I think you got more than 3 good ones. But that's wonderful. That's such a gift, because not everybody has that. So the Lord has really blessed you on that, which is absolutely amazing. And I'm still blown away that Jolene and I Will Always Love You was written in the same day, right?
Well, I don't know. Here's what we found. No, they were both on the same album, but we were looking through all of my my things. I had a lot of old cassettes and stuff in my basement, in my vault. And so we were trying to get all those old tapes, the reel-to-reels and the cassettes and all that stuff out so we could put it on hard drives so we wouldn't lose it. So when they were doing that, the cassette that they faded, I guess in 1971 or whatever, Jolene and I Will Always Love You was on that same little cassette. Now, it could be that it was in that same week, but it could have been the same night, because they were both, or the same day, because I used to write in this one little area in my house. But I was shocked myself to think that they were both written at the same time. I know they were both on the same album. And so, with all the stuff that you do, I usually date everything and put the titles, when I'm writing, so I don't lose it. But we were all amazed at that. So it's very possible that those two were written, the same night.
Oh, that's
Every
amazing.
day.
Love those two obvious songs that are just amazing. I know that you came from a big family with small means. So I was curious as to how you kind of take that and channel that into your writing.
Well, it's just automatic that I would do that. Growing up, as you mentioned, I grew up in a big family. There's 6 girls and 6 boys in our family, and all my mom's people were very, very musical. All my dad's people, some of them, but they were very big families on both sides. And we were all just poor country people, but we all had like big hearts. We had big love, and most of us were spiritual people. My grandpa was a preacher and grew up in the church. So all of those things that I remember of just living back there in the mountains, just being part of the weeds and the woods and the flowers and the bees and the birds and all that. We were just part of nature, and just all the things that we went through. It gives me a great bunch of things to choose from my childhood, and those precious memories that they say, those unseen angels, those memories that never fade. Even though so many of my parents, grandparents, and relatives, mom, dad, they're all gone now physically, but they are so present in my mind that I just can just sit down, I pick up my guitar. If I ever want to go home, I just start writing about it or singing about it. Something will come to me. And so, of course, I've been influenced from the songs I write about home, but even the songs I write today, even the love songs, I still have that mountain feeling, that church love, that emotion that was kind of embedded in my heart, in my soul, and in my psyche. That'll always be there. And I think a lot of times when people wonder why people connect to me, or why, I think they feel that. I think they feel like I'm family. I think they feel the love and respect I have for just humanity.
Absolutely. Everything that comes through your music is so genuine. And I know you always talked about, it being important to you that the songs are genuine to your life and end up normally lasting the test of time, which yours surely have. So that's absolutely wonderful. That's inspired so many people. And it's awesome to see, what story the Lord has kind of carved out for you in your life. It's just amazing. So talking about Jolene, I know a bunch of people have re-recorded that song. And so what do you think it is about that song that compelled so many different artists to re-record it? Because so many different people that do different genres and things love that song. So what do you think it is specifically about Jolene that makes people just love it?
Well, you should tell me. You've done one of the best versions I've ever heard, singing Jolene. I think people like it, and I really mean that too. They sent me you singing it, and I thought, oh my God, this is absolutely fantastic. Your voice is great, by the way. I just think you're amazing, as a lot of people do.
God,
and I really wish you a great and long career, and I think you're going to have it. But getting back to Jolene, I really, that song, just for FYI, your information, it was really a song that's been recorded more than any song I've ever written. I think it's been recorded worldwide, I think about 450 times in different languages or whatever. But I think it's just that little, singing, it's easy to remember the words. It says Jolene 4 times. You are Jolene, 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 Jolene. And then I'm begging of you, please don't take my man. But that, I think people like that little minor chord in it, that little funky lick. All bands kind of like to play that, and all girls like to sing it. Some boys sing it too. In fact, Keith Urban does it on his stage show. Used to do it every night. I don't know if he's still doing it, but he sings it. I said, what do you call it, Jolene instead of Jolene? He said, no, I just sing it Jolene because I just love the song.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yes, I think that's such a classic song, especially in the country format, that people just love it. That's such a song to gravitate towards. And I started singing that song when I was just starting because I just absolutely loved it. Around 11 or 12, I started singing when I was 9 in a gospel choir, and then started performing when I was 11, and I'm 20 now. So been performing for 9 years, and but I've always loved that song, and I've always loved your music. So that's just awesome.
Well, thanks.
Absolutely. Something I'm starting to understand, being in the music industry seriously for the past 2 or 3 years, is what it means to stand firm on business decisions to do with your career. And one of the notable decisions you took a stand on was with Elvis for your song "I Will Always Love You." And I'm sure you got asked about this 9 times, but what kind of was going through your mind when you made the decision not to give him any of the publishing?
Well, getting back to kind of what you started about, having to kind of learn how to stand up, when to say no, when to say yes, and no, when you can compromise, when and if you can, for the good of everybody. But when it comes down to the things that really matter to you most, that really do matter, period, or that's going to make a difference in the rest of your life, you can't make a split-second decision just because it sounds exciting or it's glamorous. And at that time, I mean, who doesn't love Elvis, even to this day? I was so excited when I heard that he was going to do my song. I told everybody, called everybody I knew, and I'd been invited down to the recording studio. I'd never met him before. And so I was all up and about it. And then the day before, when Colonel Tom, his manager, had called me and said that we don't do any songs that we don't publish, or that we don't at least have half publishing on. And I thought, well, now this one has already been a hit. This one's the most important copyright in my publishing company. And I can't do that, because this is what I'm going to leave to my family. And he said, well, then we can't do it. And I mean, oh, it broke my heart. I cried, I kicked and moaned, and I thought I just could picture Elvis singing it. But I just felt I had to make that decision. And so I'm glad I did, because years later, when it became such a big hit with Whitney, it really built my whole publishing company to a big degree. But I still would have longed to heard it. It was not Elvis. It's not about Elvis. This was more of a decision that managers have to make. And it was a decision that I, as a writer and a publisher, had to make.
I think that's absolutely amazing, because I feel like in the music industry, it's so hard to find people that actually stand their ground with stuff and what they believe in, instead of just, blown with the wind. And I think there's a few of them. And you are absolutely one of those people, and that I have taken that into consideration and really helped me to understand and to do, and to also stand firm in things that you believe in, and know what is best for your career and your family and all those things which you have done, which is absolutely amazing. So I just thank you for that too. There's so many things to thank you for.
Well, you're welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you. And so I have one more question for you. And that would be, I know that you got married at a young age, as did I, to my sweetheart. So being married for the majority of your life, I'd imagine you have some real life wisdom and secrets on kind of how to make it through, how you've kept your marriage, strong, and have made it for so long.
Well, I've been married for 54 years this May. I know that's a long time. That's more than most people are going to live. But my husband and I always had a great friendship, and we're both funny. We both have a great and warped sense of humor. So we've always had a good time. And he's pretty much a loner and a homebody, and I'm a gypsy. But when I'm home, I love that. We don't do the same thing, so it gives us stuff different to talk about. He doesn't get involved in my business. I don't get involved in his. So we have our own little world that we create for ourselves. And so I've always made jokes about the reason our marriage has lasted so long is because I stay gone. Well, there's a lot of truth in that. We're not liking each other's face all the time, and our faces all the time. So I think there's a lot to be said about having some sensible separation, because you can't be with somebody 24/7, 365 and not want to smack their face now and then. My husband and I have never fought. We've never bickered back and forth because I never wanted us to say bad things that we would have to remember. We get a little, pissy now and then, but we'll just kind of walk off or go do something else and, kind of let that die down. And so we just kind of, you kind of have to work at anything. Marriage is a business too. And you kind of got to look at it like that. You got to make the right decisions for all the little things that come up are concerned.
Sure. Yes, ma'am. Something that's helped me, just noticing a lot of people have said to me since I've been married it's coming up on a year. So coming up on 1 year.
Congratulations, by the way.
Yeah. Thank you. A lot of people have said to me the first year of marriage is the hardest. And I guess because you're trying to figure out stuff about the person and living together and all of that stuff. And something that I've picked up already that my husband and I have talked about is, if you get into arguments or whatever it is, we're supposed to be on the same team. We're supposed to be, working together, and it's not supposed to be I'm over here and you're over here and and I say this and I say that. So that's been something that's also been really helpful to me to think like, okay, Gabby, you're not on team this side and he's on team this side. We're supposed to be working together with this, because I feel like if you're just on complete other sides, you're eventually just going to rub and something's not going to end up right. And you're not going to have a 54-year marriage. It's wonderful. So
that's true. I agree, though, that the first year is probably the hardest because you are trying to, like you say, figure each other out and learn things. And that's the year that you probably get, the most rubbed wrong, only because you're having to share your space with somebody you've never had to share your space with before. Your habits are different than theirs. And so you got to work those little things out. And it's best just to go to the other room rather than getting in a big old argument about it, cool off, and to know that they're just as entitled to their opinion and their space as you are yours. So if you can think of it like that, and just to, when you both feel like you can, kind of calm down and talk about it, then that's where the love's supposed to come in and the understanding.
Yes, ma'am. I will take that into consideration from now on.
And then after you get that worked out, then smack him across the head.
Yeah. Give him a little pop.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so very much for taking the time to sit with me this morning. I appreciate you've literally made my entire life, and I kid you not. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
And I hope you stay well, and I hope to meet you in person someday. I want to meet you so bad.
Well, let's do it. I know you have a song called I Hope, and I do hope that we get a chance to maybe sing something together. We kind of come from the same background. We're both brought up in the church, and good luck in your life and in your career. You just hang on to who you are and keep your faith, and just go for it. You're doing real good. So keep doing what you're doing. Okay.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you so very much. So I hope to see you in the future sometime soon. I would love to sing something with you. Oh my gosh, yes.
Let's do it.
That sounds good. We'll make it happen. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Love you, love you.
You too.
Well, hey there, GMA fans. Robin Roberts here. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Lots of great stuff here. So go on, click the subscribe button right over here to get more of awesome videos and content from GMA every day, anytime. We thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the morning on GMA.